from California, Mr. Kiley, for his 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for calling this hearing. It's a hugely important topic, and we have often seen this arms race develop between criminals and law enforcement when it comes to the use of technology, where criminals innovate and law enforcement has to innovate in turn, and it's a matter of just trying to sort of keep up. But with AI, it's a totally different ballgame in the sense that the development of new capabilities is happening so quickly, and the nature of those capabilities is often emergent and surprises even the people who train the systems. And the ways in which they are being applied is equally unpredictable. To me, it seems that integrating AI into law enforcement operations, it's not just a tool at this point, it's absolutely essential. But it's a tremendous challenge and requires a lot of expertise. So it seems to me that we need to be thinking very seriously about how we can have coordination and how we can make cutting-edge tools available to law enforcement across the country. And so I wanted to ask both Mr. Redboard and Ms. Perumal, if I'm saying that correctly, about your thoughts on this. I know that you have a law enforcement background, and I know that you actually worked at Google, and I believe it was just a couple days ago that Google announced that its cybersecurity AI platform for the first time detected and defeated a software vulnerability in the wild that was known to malevolent actors. So maybe if you could both address kind of the role of the public and private sector in meeting this challenge.
Thank you so much for the question. And it's absolutely critical that the public and private sector work together on this, as the question noted. Look, every federal law enforcement agency in the US today is using tools like TRM to track and trace the flow of funds, to automate tracing when it comes to cryptocurrency, to leverage AI tools in that respect. But the reality is that it's still a handful of investigators that have this expertise and training. And as we move from crime on city streets to crime on blockchains and in cyberspace, we're going to need every agent and investigator, not just federal, but state and local, to also have access to these types of tools and training. And as you mentioned, cyber criminals are now using this more and more, and will eventually be using this at scale. Every agent investigator who is investigating these cases, tracking them, needs to be moving as quickly. So I would say tools and training primarily. And then the other piece is really true public-private partnership, where FBI and IRSCI and HSI and others are working closely with the private sector to share information to move as quickly as possible.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for the question, and I love that you're following the vulnerability discovery. That's awesome. I think, to your point, the criminal ecosystem is using this to scale their offense. We have to use it to scale our defense and to make that more effective if we're going to keep up. And there's a lot of ways we can do that, from better detecting malware to better understanding the tools and tactics they're using, better detecting the scam messages. I think if we can enable, as I said, the public-private partnerships, which we keep repeating, but I think if we can make it easier and much faster to adapt as the criminal ecosystem adapts, that makes us a lot more effective. And there's so many opportunities. If you even think about all the reports of scams that maybe we already have access to, or law enforcement has access to, if we can just go through that data and find the trends, using AI to speed up and scale investigations is a way that we can really keep pace with the criminal ecosystem.
One more thing I would add to that is that, historically, and I was a prosecutor for a long time, we investigate specific cases, right? There's an instance of crime, and we need to investigate that specific case. What this technology really allows us to do is build out networks to understand crime typologies, to understand sort of where the threat actors are and how they are engaging and what they would potentially do next. And it really, it's an extraordinary moment when it comes to not just law enforcement, but how to disrupt adversaries from a national security perspective. So I think with this technology, and I think you got to this in your question, really enables is not just sort of the one-off harm that's been done to an individual, but how do we build out networks of cartels, of fentanyl dealers, of scam networks in Southeast Asia and elsewhere. And this technology, I guess, connected to blockchain intelligence, really allows us to do a lot of that today.
Interesting. So you can address crime much more systematically, in a more efficient way and more preemptively.
And we even see that today in the actions that are coming from the U.S. Treasury and Department of Justice, where they're going after networks. They're doing civil forfeitures. There was a very large civil forfeiture complaint filed about 2 weeks ago by the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. against $225 million involved in pig butchering scams. It was a network. So we're seeing them use it today.
Very interesting. Thanks very much. And Mr. Chair, it seems I think there is a role perhaps for us to play in supporting these public-private partnerships and in facilitating the training and access to this knowledge and these resources in law enforcement across the country. I yield back.